Hey, it's Scott Orner, Kruze Consulting, and today we're talking about what is accrual-based accounting and why is it important for startups. And the Cliff Notes version is it's actually very important for startups because it helps you have a more accurate picture of your financials and you can actually run your business better. And for the investors, the VCs and startups, it actually gives them a better view of what's actually happening in the startup and helps them decide whether they want to write another check or not, how supportive they want to be in the future. So very, very important. So as a quick refresher, accrual accounting basically means you recognize revenue and recognize expenses when they actually happen, when the services are provided or used, not when you actually write the check and pay for the services or collect a check. That would be cash accounting. Cash accounting is just basically mirrors the inflows and outflows of a bank account. Accrual is kind of like the art of accounting. And so a very simple example of this be like, say you provided, your SaaS company provides service for a year, but you collected that cash for the deal up front. Well, you wouldn't recognize the revenue right up front. You recognize it as you provide the service. So if it's a 12-month deal, every month you recognize 1/12 of that deal, the revenue or of the amount to be paid as revenue. And say you didn't collect the cash until the end of the deal instead of the beginning of the deal. Well, you would have an accounts receivable as you go, and you would be still recognizing the revenue portion of that every 1/12 or every month, right? So it's very kind of granular. It's very smooth. Your financials should not be bouncing around a ton like they would if you were doing cash accounting. Remember, if you're doing cash accounting, you might use a vendor for 3 months. Say you're getting your website redesigned, and 3 months later you decide to pay them and you write a big check. Well, in cash accounting, that check, the day that goes out, that's when you're recognizing expense. But in accrual accounting, you would have recognized the cost of the service of that web redesign over the 3-month period. So 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, right? So you can see how it's smoother, it's easier to understand, it's more predictive. And when people look at your financials, they actually have a better view. There's nothing worse than sitting in a board meeting and being on cash accounting and having the VCs freaking out over your burn rate spiking. And all that really happened was you just paid a couple vendors extra that month, right? So accrual is going to give everyone a much better viewpoint of the company. And when you go out to raise funding for VCs, they really care about that. They're going to be looking at your margin profile. They're going to be looking at your cash burn rate and your operating burn rate. They're going to wonder how many months of cash they can actually get out of whatever check you're asking for. And they're going to layer that on top of the milestones they know that you need to hit to raise your next round. And so if your financials are bouncing all over the place and they can't really trust them, then it's less likely they're going to write a check and actually invest in the company. So that's why accrual accounting is so important. At the end of the day, you started a startup to change the world. But part of changing the world is having enough fuel in your tank to be able to actually exact that change. And the fuel is the money that venture capitalists give you. And the fuel is also money that your customers give you in the form of paying for your services. And so knowing accurately where you're spending money, where revenue is actually occurring, and what your prospects are for the future is really, really important. That's why accrual accounting is important for startups. It's really important for every business, but startups have this whole dynamic where they're interacting with their venture capitalists all the time. And so everything around fundraising and financials is actually more important for them than just your regular kind of small business coffee shop. So I hope that helps. We have tons of resources on accounting and fundraising, venture capital at kruzeconsulting.com. And please check out our YouTube channel. Thanks so much. Talk to you soon. Bye.